On January 8, 1975, Wei Chaoying was sent to the hospital. He was conscious, but his body was severely deformed. His hands and feet were twisted off. Wei Chaoying said that many people were killed in the ancestral hall outside the cemetery. He asked everyone to rescue them quickly. The relevant departments sent for people to the ancestral hall at that time. The leading case officer was called Zhang Desong. When they walked into the dilapidated ancestral hall, they found it in a mess with candles and incense ashes scattered all over the floor. At that time, 5 people were lying on the ground, all dead. The investigation found that all 5 people were village cadres, and in the coffin in the middle of the ancestral hall was lying an old lady. According to the investigation, this person's name was Liu Jiodi. Old Lady Liu died of natural causes 2 days ago and was buried in her own ancestral tomb. According to regulations, all superstitious activities are prohibited and this thing cannot be placed in the ancestral hall. But now it has been dug out and lies in the middle of the ancestral hall. The body has become translucent and it turns into incense ashes and floats in the wind when touched. There are 6 portraits hanging on the wall. They were very old and had a strong damp smell. The first picture showed a skinny person with a big round belly, eating one of his own legs. The second picture showed a person naked in the snow with his flesh cracking like flowers and his internal organs leaking out of the wound. The third picture showed a human head with horns and black hair all over his body, lying on the ground dying, with his intestines flowing out of the wound in his stomach and some insects lying on it biting him. The fourth picture showed a person in armor with swords stabbed all over his body, lying on the ground with his hands and feet cut off. The fifth picture showed a person in ancient costume lying on a lotus with a lot of liquid leaking out of his body. The sixth picture showed a person lying in a coffin already rotting. The seventh picture was blank. Zhang Desong was very surprised at the time. These feudal superstitious things should have been burned many years ago, so why were they still preserved here? The cadres in this place were so bold. So they were divided into 3 teams at the time. One team investigated the cause of death of the corpses on the ground, and the second team investigated why the village kept these items. The 3rd regiment sent the translucent corpse to the city for research. Zhang Desong from the 1st Regiment discovered that the deaths of these people seemed to be caused by fighting with others, and they all died of fatal injuries. The 6 portraits in the paintings are similar, as if they are painting one person. As for the age, it is estimated to be several decades old. The 2nd Regiment questioned the villagers, but the villagers refused to explain, claiming that it was done by the cadres themselves and the masses had no idea. The 3rd Regiment lifted the old lady Liu Jiodi in the coffin into the funeral car, but it broke into a pile of powder after a bump. It was useless when it was sent to the municipal bureau. Later, it was thrown away. The headquarters directly asked Zhang Desong to interrogate Wei Chaoying, and at this point, he confessed everything. At that time, there were a total of 6 people in their village holding 6 ancestral sacrificial paintings to summon the soul of the old lady. This was a common practice in the village. That night, the 6 of them were performing a ritual to summon the spirits. Suddenly, a man came in wearing a black Zhongshan suit. The villagers had never seen him before. He was holding a painting in his hand. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the room. Everyone found that the face of the man in the black Zhongshan suit was exactly the same as the face in their ancestral sacrificial portrait. Then he opened the painting and heard many ghosts howling. Wei Chaoying ran out desperately, but his hands and feet were caught by invisible things. After running out with great difficulty, he found that his hands and feet had no feeling, and the other 5 people all died. When the case officer Zhang Desong took the paintings to the backyard to burn them in full view of everyone, a man in a black Zhongshan suit swaggered in, picked up all the burning scrolls, and then swaggered out of the exit again. Everyone was stunned, unable to move their bodies at all and unable to speak. Many years later, these case officers resigned and left, and kept silent about what happened that year.